Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Laurel Hess and this is Comcast Newsmakers coming to you from the 2014 West Michigan Policy Forum being taped at the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel in downtown Grand Rapids. Joining me now is Michigan Governor Jim Blanchard. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
One of the main topics, obviously, that they're discussing here at this forum is term limits. I've been told that nobody's really taking a position. We're just exploring whether or not they need to be tweaked. Are they a good idea? But you feel very strongly and do have a position.
I do, yes. And I think at this point, all living governors agree with me, Governor Milliken, Engler, Granholm, myself. Term limits are a bad idea. You elect people who, on a short-term basis, who are not invested in the future. They don't have to live with the consequences of what they do. By the time they develop any kind of expertise on the issues, they're gone. They're usually running for other offices, raising money, competing with local officials for local office. You get, even though the people come here, talented people, you really get a revolving door of ignorance when you're dealing with a lot of key issues. And I also think that inexperienced legislators can be easily misled. They can be easily overridden by the bureaucracy. I used to think lobbyists would like term limits, but even they are complaining because they can't. People are not in the state government long enough to have a real investment in what they're doing and in the knowledge they need. There's a lot of talk here in Grand Rapids with the healthcare industry of creating clusters of knowledge, and we need clusters of knowledge in state government, and it shouldn't just be the bureaucracy.
Interestingly, you said that all the living governors feel the same that you do, that term limits are a bad idea, yet there was a time Governor Engler was very much in favor of them. So why this change in thinking amongst a lot of very key political leaders?
I think both Governor Engler and his Lieutenant Governor Dick Postumus, who was here with me, agrees with me today. Both saw the results. They saw that it was very difficult to talk to legislators about complicated issues if they were in Lansing for such a short period of time. And that the chairs of committees had so little experience, it was very difficult to have them manage important public policy questions. And I think they also saw that so many of them could be misled, duped perhaps. Plus, they come to Lansing already worrying about when their term ends and what they're going to run for else. So a lot of them go home and run for county commissioner, they run for mayor, so it even thwarts intergovernmental cooperation. If you're viewing your colleagues and your local officials as potential competitors, there's not a lot of cooperation. Basically, relationships of trust are not built up in a way that governors or cabinet members or others can rely on.
So if the general feeling coming out of this forum is, hey, we need to get rid of or change in some way term limits, realistically, how long does that take to happen? Is that possible? Do you see term limits in Michigan changing in the next couple of years?
I think Michigan will come to its senses on this issue at some point. I don't know how long it'll take. And I don't know whether this policy forum, whether the majority will agree with us or not. I hope so. But there's a way to put it on the ballot, maybe extend the time, allow people when they leave to come back and run. Right now, we have the toughest term limit law in the nation. And I might add, way back when, the Republican Contract for America included term limits, and as soon as they all got to Washington, they disregarded it because they knew it was a gimmick. It wasn't real, and it's not thoughtful.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Today's Comcast Newsmaker was Michigan Governor Jim Blanchard.